So Fauci had this to say in a press call just now. He said that going forward, a single annual COVID-19 vaccine shot targeted to the latest variant can function like the annual flu vaccine does now. So you should just they're saying you should just get vaccinated for flu every year. They've already said that. Just like you would get vaccinated for flu every year. They would expect you to. They want you to get vaccinated for COVID every year. I know some people are probably not going to listen to that. It's more just total admission that just getting vaccinated does not stop you from getting COVID at all if you have to get it every year. And the flu vaccine also doesn't stop you from getting the flu. It maybe helps you fight the flu, I think, better than COVID,
and yet
maybe.
A lot of people do get flu shots, especially if they're in vulnerable categories. It's very much encouraged for older Americans. So, let me ask you this. Yes, getting a vaccine does not prevent the disease from transmitting. It does not prevent you from getting COVID, but it still is well correlated to preventing some of the worst outcomes, death, hospitalization, and the like, and also seems to have an effect on minimizing long COVID. And people are hopeful that the Omicron-specific booster will have a better effect on transmissibility as well. It remains to be seen. We'll see what actually happens when it's out and we can test these kinds of things. But do you not see this as something that might cause COVID vaccines to be depoliticized in the same way that flu vaccines are not politicized? I
would certainly hope so. We don't want them to be politicized. It shouldn't be politicized. It is absolutely the case that many people suffered and died unnecessarily because they fell into a category where getting a vaccine would have done them a lot of good, and they didn't do it. And it's terrible. It's very terrible that vaccines were politicized that way. But politicization is a road that goes both ways. It is something that health officials accomplished inadvertently to our detriment by getting a lot of things wrong, unfortunately, including about the vaccines. I so wish they had not been oversold at the beginning, even though they did hold up a lot better on the transmission front at the beginning, but now we have we have the situation where some people, not most people in this country, most people got vaccinated. Most people who are in a risk category, I think, have even gotten boosted. Older people, and they should continue to do that even every year, certainly. And maybe if with the new vaccine or the Novavax one does not use the same the mRNA technology that some people are a little skittish about. And so if you can just get boosted with the non-mRNA vaccine, that's a great option for a lot of people. I'll probably get, I don't think I got the flu vaccine last year. I should have. Yeah. I'll probably get the flu vaccine and a COVID booster, in the next couple of weeks, probably.
Yeah. What is ironic is that I think a lot of us don't get flu vaccines and should get flu vaccines, and probably also may not end up getting the booster, in part because there is not the same kind of medical infrastructure that exists to encourage people to be compliant with all of those kinds of things. So I do think if there were more regular doctor's visits, if people had general practitioners, if people had, a better relationship with our healthcare system, it would probably be the case that people would regularly get flu shots and would be happier and healthier as a consequence, and the same with this COVID.
What if I could just buy it off the shelf? I wouldn't even have to get a doctor. I can jab myself.
It would be nice if you could afford it, but the point...
I can definitely afford it. What I can't afford is the time it takes to go to the doctor to do all that we medically gatekeep in this country.
I know that you can afford it, Robby, but the point I'm trying to make is that Biden is withdrawing a lot of the financial support for a lot of these COVID interventions now, and there's very little pushback from, I think, the cohort that should be complaining the loudest. A lot of conservatives, I think, because of the politicization of this, are not necessarily looking down the road of what's going to happen when they're largely abandoned to the vagaries of our healthcare system and the costs associated with it, as they, frankly, probably do want to have the protection that these newer boosters will provide. And I think it's unfortunate that the politicization has caused there to be a lack of accountability from the Biden administration.
But I do think the incredible look, your points about the problems with the medical system are, of course, well taken and correct. But the time it takes to time is a strain on disadvantaged people who don't have resources because they don't have, they got to get their kids from one thing to the next. They're working long hours. It's hard to find time out of your day to do even routine things like go to the doctor, which is why I advocate for as many things to just be available over the counter as possible, including lots of
You can't possibly be advocating that there's a substitute for going in and having a checkup by a physician on an annual or semi-annual basis. I mean, the problem here is that we don't have enough labor protections to guarantee, to protect workers' rights to take time off work without losing their job or being railroaded by their employer to go and do the basic things that are necessary to stay healthy and to survive. Preventative medicine takes a huge hit from people who don't go to doctor's office for myriad reasons every year because they're afraid of the unpredictable costs that will accrue from those visits.
I agree with that, but I think people could probably give themselves the flu vaccine, the COVID vaccine themselves.
Look, during a gap in my own insurance, I did once ask a friend from high school who is now a pulmonologist to give me a breast exam. But other than that, I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that as something that people have to do, and that you shouldn't have to rely on the idea of you having to have friends that are doctors, like that's kind of ridiculous. But
I do have a friend who's a Dr. Kaylee, who I routinely, Kaylee, what does this mean?
Come on, like you know that can't be the case. But
she, like you, thinks I'm not a healthy enough person, and I should wear my mask more.
Right. Shout out to Dr. Kaylee. I hear that we have a tweet on the subject of the Fauci announcement to read out. It says, "This is why God gave us two arms." That's Ashish Jha on the idea that Americans can get annual COVID shots at the same time as a flu shot, pointing out that, this could be a routine practice, that yes, you have two arms, you can get both, and this doesn't have to be quite the aberration as that it's been described over the last few years.
We could do on the show. We can get our own COVID and flu vaccines. We can inject each other.
I will not be injected.
You'll not be
by anybody in this non-clinical setting.
All right. Tomorrow on Rising, China is doubling down on its zero COVID policy and has reportedly sparked rare protests from its citizens. We'll get into all of that tomorrow, as well as California's energy crisis amid a record heat wave.
Yeah. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, you know that we are available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
We'll see you later for more unsanctioned medical experimentation. I know you love that, Briahna.
Or not.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.